compliance with the Open Public Meetings Act. Adequate notice of this meeting has been provided by advertisement in the Cape May Star and Wave on the Township website and posted on the bulletin boards of Township Hall.
All right, will you please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance and a moment of silence, please?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please.
Councilmember Conrad.
Here.
Councilmember Curry.
Here.
Councilmember Roy.
Here.
Deputy Mayor Sickles.
Here.
Mayor Simonson.
Here. All right, first is our work session. The vacant property ordinance discussion, and that is going to be led by our Councilman Conrad and our solicitor.
I think Mr. Belasco is ready to chime in on it.
Looks like it.
Yeah, he's been more involved.
Yeah, Jared, ready to
So
go.
I was going to say, come on up whenever
Take it away.
it's appropriate.
This is an issue that a lot of people in the township has talked to myself when I go out and talk to the residents about vacant properties. There's something we have to do. We found an ordinance similar to the one in the middle that we need to tweak, look at, and try to get something in this township to help all the residents, because no one wants a vacant property next to their house that's falling apart or the grass growing too high. We need to take control of this and go forward. And I believe Mr. Belasco has overlooked this and is willing to speak.
Certainly. We did have an opportunity to review this ordinance. This was brought to our attention, obviously, by Councilman Conrad, as well as Walt Fiore from the Code Enforcement Office and Ms. Picard from the Clerk's Office. Essentially, what this ordinance would do is it would require homeowners who have a vacant or an abandoned property to be somewhat accountable for their property, to maintain that property. It's become a burden on our resources here in the township, according to our Code Enforcement Officer. When you have these properties that are unkempt, they're not maintained, the grass is growing, they receive a number of calls where they're required to go out and investigate and ultimately issue citations when, individuals are not maintaining their property. What this ordinance would do is it would require individuals who maintain a vacant or abandoned property to maintain ownership and to be accountable. To be part of a registry, they'd have to apply and submit a registration to the clerk's office indicating their name, their address. If they have a registered agent here in Cape May County, hopefully it's in Lower Township so that we can reach them expeditiously and have them address any issues that arise with respect to the property. But as it stands, Mr. Fiore's indicated that there's a number of residents in the township who call his office and constantly complain about properties that are unoccupied. They're vacant. They're not abandoned. The weeds are growing. There's damage to the exterior of the property. There's animals running around the property. And what this ordinance would do is it would require them to, A, get in contact with the clerk's office and provide pertinent information so that when these calls come in, there's a means for us to contact these individuals to address the concerns of neighboring residents. I think we can all relate to a situation where there's a neighboring property owner or there's someone on our block who maybe doesn't keep their property in the best situation. They don't maintain the exterior of the property. In those situations, it's nice when they're home, but what happens when they're not home? We're constantly searching for individuals to contact to address these concerns that are brought to the township's attention. And what this ordinance would do is it would basically require them to maintain these properties or to face legal remedies, legal recourse. There's a fine associated with any violation of not maintaining the property or not registering the property, which could be levied anywhere between $100 and $1,000. Obviously, we give these individuals an opportunity to correct these nuisances or these burdens with respect to the property, but it would hold them accountable, and it would also expedite Walt's ability to locate these people to get a resolution for residents of the township.
And to be clear, this is not for occupied. If, say, people go down to Florida for the winter, this does not affect any of that. This is for places that are actually vacant or have been foreclosed, and the banks have it now.
That's
And 'cause
correct.
we've had a major issue with bank-held properties.
The big problem with foreclosures is me.
What did you do?
I don't know. Big problem with the foreclosures is that once a bank files a foreclosure action, essentially people don't have the resources to pay that mortgage. Are they going to use those precious resources to maintain the property, to fix issues associated with the exterior, the lawn and things of that nature? So it holds them accountable as well. It's better for the township when everybody does their part, when everybody maintains their property in a proper fashion, which was the reason why we promulgated this ordinance. Any questions?
I'm going to have a few, but not tonight. There's a few, the language as I went through it, that I might want to tweak before we actually bring it forward to vote. If council agrees, we'll hit some of those points. It's like, when does the town, if they don't notify the township that it's vacant, we have to give them so much time, but how are they going to know? We need to let them find a way to, there is a penalty for not registering in here, but at the same time, there's no penalty for, if they don't register, there's no penalty.
The problem is I think, as this ordinance takes effect, if council decides to adopt it, a lot of this is going to be reported, I think, by neighboring property owners who contact the township and say, hey, there's a property next to mine, nobody lives here, I've got concerns with A, B, C, and D. And it's at that time that we'll have to take action with respect to our clerk's office and code enforcement to try to locate these individuals, to send them a notice requiring them to register. But as you mentioned, Councilman, this is a draft. We're certainly open to revise it in any way, take on all the concerns of all members of council into consideration before this is ultimately put to you guys for a vote.
And I do know that the banks do, the foreclosure, anything going to foreclosure, they do notify the clerk prior
That's
that it's
correct.
being acted, so we would know about those, so we could contact them and say, you have to register.
That's correct.
And this is not new, because Cherry Hill and neighboring areas there have had this in effect for years. I believe 2013 for Cherry Hill. So they're getting kind of used to it, because we need to protect our neighborhoods, but we have to protect our residents also, because there is safety and health concerns.
That's what I was going to say, Councilman. When we were doing the research on the legislation, what we did is we looked at the towns that have been ahead of the curve and have experienced the problems for 2, 3, 4 years now, not just Middle Township.
All right, any questions from council? Any other questions? I know we'll be able to hit this at a later time, but
No questions.
no?
I have none.
All right, we can,
Good job, Rob.
thank you, Mr. Blasco. We're going to move down to the consent agenda. At this time, do we have any questions from council on the consent agenda?
No
No?
comments, no questions.
Seeing none, we open it to the public on the consent agenda. If you have any questions, come up, just we ask that you state your name and where you're from for the record. Any questions on the consent agenda? Going once, going twice. All right, we move down. I like using that. So,
Approval of the New Jersey State Firemen's Association membership application for J. Brady and M. Lepore for the Irma Volunteer Fire Company. Approval of the minutes, February 22nd, 2017. Approval of closed session minutes, February 22nd, 2017. And resolutions number 2017-90 through 2017-97.
all right, can I get a motion to approve the consent agenda?
I'll make the motion. I'll second the motion.
Councilmember Conrad?
Yes.
Councilmember Curry?
Yes.
Councilmember Roy?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Sippel?
Yes.
Mayor Simonson?
Yes. Now we move down to the regular agenda.
Ordinance number 2017-05. This is an ordinance amending ordinance number 2005-05, which amends chapter number 157-7, alcoholic beverages of the Code of the Township of Lower. This is the first reading of this ordinance. The second reading and public hearing of this ordinance will be scheduled for the March 20th, 2017 meeting.
Hey, your mics are on, guys. We heard that. We heard all that. All right, any questions or comments from council on the ordinance 2017-05?
The only comment I have is basically, we're cleaning the ordinance up and putting proper times in. There was a little bit of conflict between winter and summer, and the times will be standard year-round.
Any other comments?
No comments.
All right, we open up to the public for ordinance 2017-05. Any questions or comments? Seeing none? I get to hit my guy. We need to vote. Do I get a motion to approve ordinance 2017-05?
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
Councilmember Conrad?
Yes.
Councilmember Curry?
Yes.
Councilmember Roy?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Sippel?
No.
Yes. Now move down to council comments. We'll start with Councilman Conrad.
I'll keep it short. Atlantic City Electric just received an email today. For Arbor Day, they're giving out 1,150 free trees. You have to sign up for them. It's not just for Lower, it's for their whole area. You have to go to www.arborday.org/ACE to get more information on it. But they have 4 different types of trees, and I have moved where it is. Oh, there it is. They will be having American Beech, Bald Cypress, River Birch, and White Dogwood. They're totally free. They're 4-foot trees. If you would like one, anybody in the township, just call that number or the arborday.org/ACE and register. That is all. Oh, for the beach access, I want to really commend Public Works for what they're doing. They're doing an excellent job. Please go see it. I talk about it every meeting. It's wonderful to see it. People are loving it. They're going out to the beaches. Please go check it out. Dave?
Got a important message here for people on Roseanne Avenue, which I am overwhelmed. I am so happy to be able to announce this. Beginning on or about March 15th, contractors working for the MUA will be working on Roseanne Avenue. They're going to be starting to de-water the areas of the road which the MUA is going to replace the existing water main on Roseanne Avenue. This process should take 4 to 5 weeks. So there is going to be some construction going on Roseanne Avenue. This is the first step on the project. They have to move the water main in order to do the rest of the work. Everything seems to be on schedule right now, so it is looking good. They're going to be installing a 24-inch water main. There'll be new water services, including curbside meter pits. I believe the meters are now in the properties as they are right now. They'll be in meter pits now out front. They'll be transferring water service from the old main to the new main. That'll be one of the last things they'll be doing there. The very last thing is they will be decommissioning the old water main, which will eventually be removed when the rest of the construction goes on. I know these people have been having problems back in Roseanne Avenue since 1985, and it's been getting worse and worse every year with the storm drain that is damaged and causing flooding problems in the area. This is the first step to correct that, and I'm just happy that it's actually going to happen. And they will be starting, like I said, the MUA will be there March 15th or on or about to get that process started.
Can I step in real quick on that one? They are being proactive. There may be issues because the water line is old going through that area, and there's a lot of hookups. They are going to be proactive and be ready for anything to keep the water flowing as fast as possible, get it back as fast as possible.
Also, along with that, I met with the MUA director last week. There is a letter going to be sent out. It'll be sent out sometime this week, hopefully no later than Wednesday, to every resident on Roseanne Avenue. The letter has a lot of information contained within it for the homeowners. There are also contact information, names and phone numbers that the residents, if they have an issue, can call. One of those phone numbers on here, if there is a problem, is Mr. Ridgway. You can call the manager's office if there is a problem during the construction. Mr. Ridgway will be more than happy to take the call and get things steered in the right direction. As Councilman Conrad said, that you have to realize this piping's been in the ground since the 70s, so they anticipate possible problems when they go to do this construction. However, they are going to be prepared to handle anything that may occur with this installation. So, again, you'll have to bear with the contractors and the construction going on in the street. I will be out this week knocking on doors on Roseanne Avenue to speak with homeowners to make sure that they are well aware of what's going to happen on their street within the next a couple weeks, and it will last 4 to 5 weeks, as I stated before. The last thing I have is Sunday, we're going to be going to daylight savings time, and I'd just like to remind everybody that it is time to check your batteries and your smoke detectors. As we try to tell people, when you change your clock, change your batteries, and just a little safety measure out to our residents, change your batteries and your smoke detectors. Thank you.
Mayor, I'd like to follow up on Mr. Perry at this time. With regards to the Roseanne project, a couple other things I'd like to add after sitting in that meeting. First off, the same company, the engineering firm that did the water most recently in the Villas, will be doing that street, and it was very little inconvenience to the residents. And we have specific questions about how long, how much would they do at a particular time, and they'll do a block, let's say, in a day, and they hope to have that street, when it's dug up, re-asphalted by the end of that particular day. They're quick, they're efficient, and like I said, with all the homes down there, we have the same scenario in North Cape May with people maybe having to park around the corner just for a couple days. But those folks did a phenomenal job with the Villas project. And council had asked me to come up with this month a itinerary of our 2017 projects, which was finalized over the weekend with Public Works, and you'll get a copy of this tonight. But you mentioned the beach accesses. They will be completed totally in the next month. The next project that should be completed before summer is our bike path. Third one is Old Route 109, northwest side of the canal. We have to mill that road and pave it. East Greenwood and Maori will be done in July. That's a 2-week project. South Clubhouse, Main Street, Alabama, Georgia, and we need some engineering for this project, but there's the starting point, and I'm going to be bringing you within the next, hopefully, 2 weeks, because the engineer is still working with Dave and Gary for our 5-year plan. I also, early this morning, for our residents, spoke with Dale Foster, County Roads Engineer or Superintendent, about the bridge going into Cape May, because a lot of our residents go over to Cape May that way, and that bridge project is scheduled to be completed by the end of this month, but he felt it could be completed in the next 10 days. So I think that's another inconvenience to people that, and probably has hurt a few businesses a little bit. This afternoon, my secretary handed me a letter from Governor Christie's office and the EPA, which was a notice of 2 of our former projects that, unbeknownst to any of us, because these were grants from Green Acres that were given to us in years back, well, they inspected these projects on February 24th, 2017, and the comments on this paper are outstanding. The projects were found to be in beautiful shape, with all facilities in superb shape and very well maintained. It is our continuing concern that the projects acquired and developed with Green Acre funds be operated and improved in accordance with agreements. I'd like to send a thank you or plaudits out to our Public Works, along with Recreation, specifically for Freeman Douglas Park, would be Keith Pallick, Tom Connolly Sr., and Judy Gillis, who worked diligently all year long keeping these parks looking in good shape. Last thing, tomorrow, a month ago, we had talked to you about a benefit for 2 of our own in Lower Township, and it wasn't that it was just very successful. Tomorrow, the Caesar families and the Cooper family will be meeting at Town Hall to present checks to Kim Blackley and Bob Bonner. And the last scenario, I would like the mayor to address a little bit concerning what took place Saturday night in the township on the high school baseball field with another one of ours and a local coach who came through our program that we're all praying for right now. But that's all I have.
Can I, real quick, I keep interrupting. Can we find out Greenwood and Mallory? My concern there is the storm sewer. There's bad flooding on any heavy rains and blocks off the post office. I've talked to Gary about it, but I just want to make sure that's being addressed.
It also states in there drainage improvements to the intersection.
Okay,
So I think that might be what you're referring about.
yes.
You know, just on top of that, real quick, I know Councilman Conrad and I were in attendance at the MUA meeting. The one thing I was very impressed with is they already have backup in place in case there is an accident when they're doing this work. So they've already, because it's happened in other places, you know, whether it's cutting into a line or something, they already have a whole system in place to take care of it immediately and fix it right away if that were to happen. So they've already thought ahead and been prepared for that. So that's good to know, and hopefully, you know, we plan on that project getting done as swiftly and, you know, obviously as quick as possible. So, Councilman Roy?
I would just like to suggest that in light of this work that's going to be done on the Roseanne Avenue project, that the police be notified and perhaps assign additional patrols there throughout the course of the project, that the residents can feel safe having to park their vehicles away from their homes. Other than that, nothing more to add.
Good point. Deputy Mayor?
Okay, I just want to commend Councilman Perry on the Roseanne project. I know the Councilman Perry and Councilman Conrad, Mayor Simonson, they've worked that project prior to myself and Councilman Roy coming on board here. And I just want to say good job with the manager and the staff and everybody in Lower Township. So good job, Dave, with that. The other thing I want to just touch on, it's been a priority for all members of council, the drug addiction, alcohol problem we have in the township, and I've been working with the Cape Assist on that issue. We do have a grant in Lower Township we're working right now. I have a meeting tomorrow morning with the director to pull additional resources in the township to help us battle that problem, and that's all I have, Mayor.
Thank you. All right, I have a couple things. First, kudos once again to Eileen for her Run for the Fallen benefit. That every year that funds the Gold Star families that come down and stay in the area so that they can be a part of the festivities honoring their loved ones that have died in battle for our country. So we appreciate it. Thank you, Eileen. A couple things. There was another cleanup on Saturday. I will let, hopefully, during the public comments, Judy can come up and maybe give us a brief, just a quick update on that. I know that we had more volunteers out there this past Saturday. More work was done. It's really coming along, and I believe we're going to be scheduling some other cleanups in the future. So thank you, and great work, Judy, and all the volunteers. On a lighter note, with the locally, we had an inter-district choir concert this past week. It's really a neat thing. All three school districts, or all three schools, the elementary school, the 5th and 6th graders, Richard M. Titleman Middle School, and the Lower Cape May Regional Choirs all do a concert together, which is really neat. And, you know, this is the reason that we have such strong music programs throughout our township. Our dedicated teachers. I know I want to give a shout out one of our music teachers, David Dunlap, who's been in our district for, I believe, over 30 years. But Dave's retiring this year, so it was bittersweet for him, his last inter-district concert. But it's always nice to see the young kids work with the older kids and see them as mentors and role models, and it only makes our program stronger in the township. So kudos to them. Yesterday I had the honor of speaking at the Cape May County Honors Choir, not as the mayor, but as a musician. So that was kind of neat, different. there were many members from, again, our elementary school and our middle school representing Lower Township, so it was a proud day. Along with that, I want to send out just our thoughts and prayers, all of us from Lower Township, to Dave Lepore and his family. He lost his father recently. Dave, besides living here his whole life, I know I grew up playing Pee Wee football with him, and he's you know, a supervisor in our Public Works Department as well as our Irma Fire Chief. So please say a prayer for him and his family. And last but certainly not least, as Mr. Ridgway alluded to, Saturday night there was a candlelight vigil for a local resident, Jerry Griffin, who went through our school system, is a teacher at Mitnick School in our elementary district, and also a baseball coach, was the head baseball coach at our junior high last year, and now is a coach at the high school. Jerry's 28 years old and suffered numerous strokes. He's up in Cooper Hospital fighting for his life. And we want to send our prayers out to him and his family as he continues to fight. And I heard a positive update this morning. It seems like he's been progressing and not going backwards, so that's great. Saturday night, it was just great to see the community get involved once again. Another function where everyone came together. They did it on the, we were all there on the Lower Cape May Regional Baseball Field, where Jerry spent a lot of his time throughout his life as a player and as a coach. It was just a really touching ceremony. The weather was brutally cold to see that many people come out and really show their support for Jerry and his family, including a lot of the young kids. It was really touching and moving. So again, say a prayer for Griff and his family as well. And that's all I have at this time. So we will open it up to the public. Again, if you come up, please just state your name and your address so we have it for the record. Thank you. Anybody?
Right there.
See what? Come on, you can come up. And she always has a different hat on, which is, it's, you know, it's tough to tell.
I have many. Mary Reeder from Villas, West Drumbed Road. I wasn't planning to be here. I forgot the meeting. I kept saying, it's the 20th, but I forgot it was the 7th. So and the 20th. So I would first like to say many thanks to all the people who contributed to Cape Aid, the homeless concert yesterday. It was a rouser in terms of music, in terms of fellowship, in terms of money. The number will astound you. We'll get the final count on Thursday, but we had lower sponsors, we had many people, churches, just, it was great. Now we go to concern. I talked with Mr. Conrad about this. To my knowledge, and I'm giving you my knowledge, I'm not an authority. Only 3 counties in New Jersey have invited ICE to come in. The 4th is pending. It's Cape May County. The sheriff has invited ICE to come in to Cape May County with whatever they do, and it's hard to know what they do and how they do it. It's pending, but happening at the same time. And families are being uprooted. I saw teachers and social workers near tears talking about the effect on their children in Wildwood. They don't know who's going to come home in these days, even before ICE comes. And ICE is the federal enforcement of this program to get rid of, to eject, to deport undesirables. They can be as undesirable, well, first of all, They may be undocumented, but their cases are not always settled before they come, before they are deported. I'm nervous for them. They could be deported before any due process. The freeholders apparently, just to the eye and to the comments, are satisfied that ICE will come here and appear to be ready to approve the final approval next Thursday, their second meeting of the month. 3 police officers, they tell us, will be trained to assist ICE. They tell us nobody will be taken off the streets. It will not be disruptive. A realtor told us that she has had cancellations from Canadians who will not come because of this word. And I'm assuming that, considering the workforce, et cetera, that businesses, tourism will definitely be affected if this happens. Not only that, but I can tell you, if I didn't live here and I knew of this, I wouldn't vacation here either. And I think that's going to be a big concern, not only to the pocketbooks, but to the families that are going to be, they are terrified, and they're going to be disrupted. Let's see, Canadians. So what I ask you is please confer with the freeholders and find out what they know, what they're going to do, find out, clarify. I could have some things wrong. I don't want to be an alarmist about this, but I surely am dismayed. Thank you.
Well, Mrs. Reeder, thank you. What I can assure you is I'm going to reach out, and we're going to see if we can have someone from the Sheriff's Department or a freeholder here at the next meeting during our work session to give us all accurate information as to what's going on.
When's your work session?
It's the night of our next meeting. It's always before we start the agenda.
See, I think that they kind of inkled that they would be voting then if they've already gotten approval. And by the way, isn't the county jail full and undercoded, et cetera?
That's why they're building the new one,
Full
yes.
Would be shipped out. They wouldn't be going local if they are picked up.
All I know is what I read in the paper, because when you called me, I had no knowledge of anything about ICE. What was in the paper the next day was they were training sheriff's officers that during influx, when people are brought into the county jail, that's when they are going to be checking them. They're not going on the street. They're not doing that. That's what they said, but we will try to find out more and pass that on, as the mayor said.
Yeah, I just want to get accurate information because I know there's a lot of rumors that swirl and things get blown out of proportion, but I don't, as far as to my knowledge, that's not going to happen, what you stated. I thought it was just for the jails themselves, but I definitely will get you that information and make sure that we obviously distribute that information as well.
Of course, my concern is that from the very top, there's very blurry information, and what's happening here and there, the stories that tell. I don't know if Cumberland and Salem are the 2 of the 3 counties who consented. They might have information, and I could be wrong.
Thank you. We'll get you that information. Thank you. Anyone else? Seeing none, we close the public portion. I need a motion to adjourn.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second the motion.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye.